The number of deaths blamed on Ida stands at 65 this morning. Recovery continues from the Gulf Coast all the way up to the Northeast. In some parts of Louisiana, there is still no electricity or even running water. We saw President Biden. He was on the ground in Louisiana Friday. Elsie Preston shows you he'll be touring the hardest hit areas in the Northeast now this coming week.
As the hurricane-battered Gulf Coast struggles with widespread power outages and fuel shortages, officials say the lights should be back on in New Orleans by the middle of next week. But the head of Louisiana's power company warned Saturday that electricity to some of the state's hardest-hit areas may not be restored until the end of this month.
If you've got a generator that you're using, please make sure that it's at least 20 feet from your residence. It's in a well-ventilated area. It is not in a crawl space, a garage, certainly not in the house with you.
Violence broke out at a Louisiana gas station when a driver fatally shot another after witnesses say the alleged gunman cut a long line.
Once he pointed the gun at the victim kind of, put his hands up like, what, you're going to shoot me at? And that's what he did.
The suspect, this 21-year-old New Orleans man, turned himself in and was charged with second-degree murder. In Killeen, Louisiana, the aftermath of Ida remains dire.
If we don't get MREs, water, diapers, commodities, just anything to help these citizens, that it's going to be a very tough time.
On a Gulf Coast visit Friday, President Biden surveyed the destruction.
Folks, I know you're hurting. I know you're hurting.
On Tuesday, President Biden is set to be here in Manville, New Jersey, which took a devastating hit when remnants of Ida blew through the Northeast.
The town is very amazing. Everybody likes to help each other out, but this just came out of nowhere.
President Biden will also visit Queens, New York, where multiple people died at home in basements that became death traps.
FEMA says it has more than 1,000 people deployed to help with response and recovery all along the Gulf Coast and in the Northeast. Ida might wind up being the most expensive hurricane ever. Let's take a deeper dive here this morning because right now Hurricane Katrina in 2005 still holds that title. That storm cost nearly $164 billion in economic losses. But the UN's weather agency says that global weather disasters tied to climate change strike 4 to 5 times more often and create 7 times more damage than they did 50 years ago, setting up Ida now as potentially the most expensive hurricane yet.